Ladies and pets. Andy here, day 207.
Teen.
Teen. You like teens, you sick pedophile. Of the Inner Winner Show.
Well, I mean, 18's technically a teenager, right?
18 only on this show. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of 18 only, if you're not 18, get the fuck off my podcast, because today we're going to be talking about some sexual coital relations. We're going to talk about pet play. So this month, over the next couple of months probably, we're going to do more of a focus on actual sexual content.
Mm-hmm.
Sex is when a man puts a penis into another man or a woman puts her penis into another woman or a man or a transgender. Basically, when people put their penises into other people. That's what sex is. And we're going to be talking about that. We're going to cover all sorts of different kinks and how you can get started with them, ones that we enjoy, maybe some that we don't enjoy, but that other people want to try, that we do begrudgingly because we feel bad for them and we want them to have a good time, even if it's at our own expense.
On there that we're not.
Most things I do with you, I do it because I care about you and I love you very deeply and I want you to be happy. I, generally speaking, just like missionary sex, like looking into your eyes, telling you that you're a beautiful soul, and we just make beautiful love together and nothing else other than that. Everything I do on top of that is because I want you to have a good time. So
that's not true. Either that or you've been lying to me for...
I don't lie, okay? I'm very honest. All the time. A lot of the time. As much as I can be. So, pet play. Pet play, pet play. What is pet play?
It is...
It's not when you play with your pet.
No, that's bestiality.
Yeah. We'll do the next episode on that. So, pet play is when it's basically a form of submission or submissiveness. I like to think of it as like the ultimate form of submission.
Or ownership.
Or ownership, yeah. So basically when one person pretends to be animalistic is probably the best way, but it can also manifest as like, or you can also explore it as just like a submission thing. I'm going to be your little pet, like a collar and a leash. You put a collar around her.
Like a domesticated pet.
Yeah. So what is the appeal, I guess, for both people? From the girl's point of view, it's like a chance to, be super submissive. You can go kind of into that animalistic state. Some people call it like a subspace, where you're basically super submissive. Sometimes she's not allowed to talk or she won't want to talk, and that's kind of part of the appeal. Again, it's like a super intense form of submission.
Yeah.
You're being super submissive.
I think it's also an element of, which comes with submission, but it's that letting go.
Yeah.
Like,
and just reverting to your animal desires.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily have to be proper or put together.
Yeah. I don't have to form sentences. I get to just have sex or be used.
Yeah, almost get looked after.
Yep, there's an element of that. Yep.
If anything, not thinking is like part of the appeal. You kind of switch off and you're just like...
Yeah. You're animalistic. You're instinctual. All you do is you just follow your instincts and you do what you're told, just like kind of like a pet does. Like if you have a dog or a cat around the house, maybe not a cat, cats are little cunts, but if you have a dog...
I like cats.
I know you do. And you also probably fucking like killing people or some shit. I don't know. There's like 10 bad jokes I could have made right there. Anyway. So a big part of the appeal is like that submission. And in terms of you as the guy... What do you get out of it? Well, it's fun as fuck. She'll do everything she's told, like literally everything, especially if you go really deep on it and say like you're not allowed to talk, or some girls, like I said, won't want to talk. That's really fun. It's like no matter what you do, she's just going to go along with it and, within reason, obviously. But like for the most part, it's like way more submissive and she's just doing everything she's told. And it's kind of like the term is pet play, but I think of it more like doll. I don't know if doll's the right word, but some people have talked about this before. There's an appeal of like a girl just being like a living doll kind of thing, and she has to be super submissive and do it. You can kind of do anything you want to her. I guess pet play is not quite like that because she is enjoying it and she's doing stuff with you. And
sure.
But it's very much like you're going to do what you're told and I'm going to do whatever. So giving commands, like for context, we played with a girl yesterday and she's been very much into pet play.
Yeah, did she bring it up?
She begged, like she asked me like 10 different times, like, hey, can we try that? Please, 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 can we try this? And so we did a big scene, if you want to call it that. But we fooled around with this stuff and did it yesterday for like maybe an hour or two, maybe an hour. It was lots of fun. We put her on a collar and leash. As soon as she walked in the door, I said to her, strip. and she stripped naked, and then I said kneel, and she got down on her knees, and then I put the collar on her, and she was like very fucking turned on immediately. She'd wanted all this. She'd said like she wanted this kind of stuff because she'd never tried it before. So I guess obviously the caveat, if you're going to try this with a girl, tell her that you're going to do it first. Otherwise she might just be confused as hell. She's like, what do you mean I can't talk? Why can't I talk? So like, explain that it's a fantasy. Just say, have you ever tried like submission? Have you ever tried
do you
pet play?
Want to try this? Are you into this?
Yeah. And you don't even have to call it pet play if you don't want to. You can call it submission, or do you want to play with the collar and the leash? As soon as you put the collar and the leash on, especially if you make her get down on all fours and like crawl around, like crawl behind you, because that was the next thing I did. Once I'd put the collar and leash on her, I said, right, on all fours, and then I gently led her into the bedroom where you were waiting for her.
Yeah, it's definitely a power dynamic, and you can absolutely use like a collar and leash and not have it be like pet play, and it just be like a domination submission sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the big appeal. I mean, it's one of the appeals with pet play.
The collar and the leash.
Yeah, but what comes with that? So the domination.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's the biggest part. Yeah. But so it's just another form. A lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about over the next few weeks is just different forms of like power dynamics. Like you're in the position of power, you as the man, or if you want to do it the opposite, like women can do it too. Like you can make your man be on all fours and shit like that. So whoever's in the position of power is like, the owner, so to speak, or the master, or the daddy, or the dom, like whatever you want to call it, right? Like play around with this stuff. It's all a bunch of fun. And at the end of the day, this shit's meant to be fun, remember? It's just like fucking around and having a bit of role play, a bit of fun. And then whoever's in the lower position is like the submissive or the pet or the baby girl or the good girl or the little one, like whatever word you want to use. The slave, if you want to go hardcore with it, the bitch, like the one who's owned.
Mm-hmm.
And so that power dynamic is part of the appeal anyway. Like, I think as guys, you don't get to experience being in the submissive position as much, so you don't really know what it's like from that position. But the appeal for women is like, what you said, getting looked after. That's a big part of it, right? Like I guess let's ask this question, because you and I played around with it this morning as well. You said after yesterday, you were like, oh my God, like, you said it really cute in that female way where you're just like, do you think that maybe like one day maybe we could like, do you think maybe you could like try like, and I was like, yes.
You're playing that up.
That is what you were like. You said it in the classic female, like nice, sweet way. We don't just say like, bro, can you fucking tie me up and like treat me like a fucking pet, bro? Like that'd be hot as shit, dog. Like you never talk like that as a woman. Anyway, so this morning you and I did that. You woke up. You came to give me a cuddle and I was like, kneel, and you were just immediately like turned on. I put the collar and leash and we tried all this stuff. So what is the appeal for you? Like, why is that so hot? Not just pet play, but like submission. Why is it collar and leash hot? Why is being in the lower position hot? Why is it hot being told what to do? Why is it hot just going with the flow and the other guy has a plan and he takes the lead? And what's the appeal?
Well, I think with submission, there's that I will say it's probably partly biological. Like you give in to like that stronger, more powerful person so they can impregnate you. So that's like probably where a lot of it comes from. But then I think delving further into that, there's this sense of, I guess, of valuing pleasing another person. Like
being good or just seeing them turned on? Like doing a good job or seeing them?
I think both. Like it starts off just be like doing a good job, but then because it is in a sexual context, like sexually, like doing a good job means pleasing them, making them feel good. And that not only turns you on to see them feel good, but to also know that, I guess, there's a weird power that comes from like being able to make someone else feel good. Or maybe it's not a power. Maybe it's like
a power. It is a power.
Pride or like a skill.
It can turn into a power. And we've talked about this a little bit before with power dynamics, but I don't think we've ever done a full article on power dynamics or a full podcast. But there's a weird power play that happens when you're in the dominant position. Maybe usually it's the guy, but whoever's in the dominant position, you clearly have power. You can literally say, kneel, turn around, go over there, I'm going to fuck you now, beg. You can tell her what to do and she'll do everything you're saying. Or he, depending on who's in the position, right? The submissive person will do everything you're saying.
Yep.
There's a weird power with the submissive person too, because the more the better a job they do at submitting, the more the dominant person gets turned on. And the more you get turned on, you yourself start to lose a little bit of that control. Like, you are trying to be, Mr. Christian Grey. You're trying to keep it together. You're wearing a suit. You're trying to like be in control. You're trying not to get too turned on. But the more she submits to you, the more your own base instincts start to kick in. You start getting really fucking turned on. And then you start to slip a little bit. Like, you can't help it. You start fucking her harder. And then you remind yourself, like, no, slow down, stop. Remember, you're supposed to be like dominating her. Yeah. You lose your composure. Perfect word of saying it. Yeah. And you get to a point, and we did this yesterday when we were playing with this girl. And this morning I did it too with you, where it's like, I can't take anymore. Like, me, myself, is the dominant one. I can't take anymore. And I just have to fuck the shit out of you and come. Like,
yeah.
Or I just go crazy. And then maybe you catch yourself after 2 minutes of going crazy, pounding the hell. And you like, stop, no, wait. And you stop, you take a break yourself, and you're like, God, I'm supposed to be in control, but I just lost it right there. And so that's hot for you as the submissive person, because you realize that's me. I did that. So there's this weird power thing where the submissive person has a lot of power. It doesn't seem like direct power. It's not direct power. It's very subtle.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can absolutely drive. And once you figure out that power, you and I like to encourage this in other girls, and I encourage this in you for sure. Encouraging the submissive person to realize they have that power and then play it up as much as they can. The more they can do naughty things, the more they know what to say to you. Like, Daddy, please fuck me, like that. That's something that drives me insane. And that, and so do the girls that we see. And so you can do that. And then that's almost not fair. It's like, now it's not unfair, but it feels like, damn it, that's my cheat. That's my kryptonite. Why did you say that? Now I'm horny. Especially when you play with these dynamics, and the dominant person, like me, for instance, if I'm trying to tease you and I'm saying nope, you don't get to orgasm yet. Or I'm I'm rubbing you, and then I stop, and then I say, maybe that's enough. You only get a little bit. And you're like, please more, please, please, please. You can kind of cheat and be like, Daddy, please. And then it's like, no, that's not fair, because that's turning me on. And now that makes me want to rub you. God damn it. It's almost a battle, but in a fun way.
Yeah, and you kind of both become more desperate and
more depraved,
more
turned on. Yeah.
And I think the pet play aspect takes it to the next level, because you do start becoming more, I guess, animalistic or
because your only
unhinged.
tool is being more animalistic. If you can't talk, what can you do? And I think that's a big part of pet play. I know in some pet play, some people, when they like to fuck around with this stuff, they literally just put a collar and leash and everything else is normal. So she still talks,
Yeah.
But I think generally speaking, most people who do pet play, the idea is that the pet or the submissive person shouldn't really be talking. A lot of people don't like it when that person talks. And usually the submissive person doesn't like to talk. And when you do that, it's now you don't have your words. How are you going to turn me on? How are you going to beg for what you want? How are you going to get what you want? If I'm there teasing you and not letting you have it, what are you going to do? You're going to have to look at me with puppy dog eyes, which is hot in itself. You're going to have to whimper, which the girl we played with yesterday did. She started making cute, adorable little noises. Cute, yeah. She's like a puppy dog would when it's hungry for dinner.
Yeah.
And you have to do other things. You have to lick really hard. She was licking your clit at one point. She was licking my dick. You got to try and be even better, and you just have to be even more submissive and let the person do anything they want to you, because you're trying to turn them on, but you don't have your words. So it's this really fun, hot dynamic where the only thing you have is your body.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it just then. I think being submissive as well, but tying it around pet play, it is this sense of I'm helpless.
Yeah.
In a good way. I can't do anything. They can,
I can't use my words and I can't do anything.
Particularly, I think for me, it's that female fantasy of there's this big, strong man taking me. There's nothing I can do. I just have to
I'm just helpless. Oh shit, he could do anything to me.
Give into it.
Yeah. I wonder what he's going to do. And then the next, the reason that's so appealing is because it's like a roller coaster. What is he going to do? He could do anything. Shit. It's up and now it's down, then it's up. He can slow down. He can go fast. He can do this.
Yeah. It's like that. It almost is like that. When I say excitement, I mean bodily excitement, heart rate going up, the autonomic nervous system kicking in, fight flight. Mm-hmm. But removing, in a good way. Yeah, in a good way, when someone can do anything they want to, but then removing that fear of this person could hurt me, kill me. Once you remove those, then it's exciting.
Same reason that people go on roller coasters. Yeah. There's all the thrill and excitement of death, but you know that it's safe. Same as why you watch a horror movie. There's all the thrill and it's stimulating your fight or flight, but you know that you're not in danger. So it's you're living vicariously you're living close to that edge of danger. You're getting that sense of danger. Same with skydiving. You have that sense of danger, but there's like all this safety around it. Same with like good pet play or good any dynamic in the bedroom.
Yeah.
It's dangerous, but like you trust the person. So I guess we can add that in. Make sure you trust each other when you do this shit. But
yeah, it's like extreme and intense, but it's good because you know that it's well intentioned.
And so I guess we can segue from there. If someone wants to, we'll talk about how to actually start doing it or how to try it. And then we'll also talk about some other stuff that we did yesterday with her so we can kind of get you guys like thinking like, oh, what could we try? But how do you actually start it? I would just say, honestly, buy a collar and leash. That's probably the easiest, and just start with that. Nothing else, just the collar and leash. And you don't have to call it pet play. You don't have to say like, you're not allowed to talk. Just say, you know, let's try a collar and leash. Or you buy it and you say like, hey, I've got this collar and leash. Let's try that. I promise you, pretty much every single girl is going to say like, that's really hard. Like, I don't think I've ever said it to a girl, even before I was like super into BDSM. Just when I was just dating average normal girls. Some of the Asian girls that I saw were a little bit like, why do you want to do that? And you'd explain it and you'd be like, do you want to just try it? And they would try it and they'd be like, that's fun. And like, so they were hesitant. They were nervous as hell. And some of them were like, why? And you'd be like, just try it and see how it feels. And they'd be like, oh, why do I like that? Like, so what you'll find is like, that's your worst reaction. A girl will be like, why? And you're like, we'll just try it and we'll see what happens. Like, you know, if you don't like it, we'll try something else.
Yeah, it's honestly just having a chit chat. Like, do you think this sounds like fun? Like, something you'd be into? Let's try this.
Yeah. And you don't have to have like a cold, boring conversation. That's not what we're saying here. Like, do it in the fucking, like, right when you're about to have sex. Like, when you're making out, just be like, hey, like, stop for a second. Like,
maybe don't yell.
Put your hand up and say, like, hey, listen, I need to say something. No, but seriously, like, you're making out, you know, maybe you guys are undressed. Maybe you've already started having sex or something. You take a pause and you be like, oh, like, hey, look at this thing. Go grab the collar and leash and be like, do you want to try this? And then if she's like, nah, then just be like, yeah, fine. But like, I promise you, most girls will not say no. Especially if she's already turned on. She'll be like, sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, our go-to, particularly when we have these sort of conversations with girls, if there's stuff that we particularly want to try with a girl, like, it's pretty much, it's always like after sex or lying in bed. We're like,
yeah, after sex is a good call as well.
What are you into? Like, have you ever tried this? We always like sending like gifts.
Yeah. So you can just send, that's another thing you can do. We've talked about that quite a bit in the past. Just send her like a porn picture or a GIF. Make sure it's artsy and not too hardcore.
Sure.
Just search for, you know, I've told you, go to that website called sex.com and they have plenty of, it's a search engine for like, you know, sexual GIFs and pictures. Leash. Yeah. And so just search for like collar and leash. There's plenty of like really artsy, really hot ones that girls will be like, damn, that looks really sexy. Like, because it's artsy, there's a way of making it look.
Yeah, it's like black and white and she's just like...
And she looks really pretty and the lighting is like perfect. It's taken with like a professional DSLR camera. It looks like art, right? It looks like a fucking nice photo. And you send that to girls and I promise you most girls will be like, that looks really hot. Why does that look so hot to me? Like, even if she's a shy, like fucking Asian girl, I promise you, from experience with doing this, a lot of them are like, wow, that's really hot. But honestly, the easiest way is to just bring it up, like when you're making out or just before that, or even during sex, or even after sex if you want to. Just be like, yo, do you want to try this next time? Or do you want to try this now? Like, have you ever tried this?
This is a tangent. But obviously in Australia we have a big culture of like international students and people that come to Australia for like education, tourism.
Yeah, plenty of Chinese students, Vietnamese students, yeah.
Other countries, when you just keep saying like Chinese girls, like, do you think that's relatable?
So I'm sure to lots of you listeners, I have quite a large audience in Poland, for instance. And I know you Polish dudes, you're like, bro, Chinese people, why are Chinese people here? Like, why would Chinese people be here? And I'm sure in Russia, I got some Russian guys as well. Like, you're probably thinking the same thing. But most of my audience, remember, is like, first country is USA, then the UK, then Australia, then Canada, then Germany. Okay. I think Poland is number 6.
Fair enough. I just feel like...
So it's like pretty much entirely Western.
Australia has such a big, specifically Chinese. Though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you're like in the Midwest of Chinese, the USA or in one of those southern states, you're probably like, bro, why are you always talking about Chinese people?
Because we used to live in Melbourne. And
yeah, there's a lot of like Asian people here. And a huge part of my dating was Asians early on, Asian chicks, mostly like Chinese and Vietnamese chicks, who had come from that country and only been here for like 2 weeks. So they were like fully Chinese or Vietnamese. Like, they weren't westernized. They didn't really understand Western culture. So your mileage may vary, but yeah. So let's pull it back. What else did we do with it? So that's how to get started. Honestly, if you're wanting pet play, I would just start with a collar and leash. Just buy one. We'll leave a link in the show notes or the description below to the one that we recommend. It's just like a general BDSM kit. I think I can't remember how much it is. It's like $50 or something. Maybe it's a little more. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's cheap, but it's not like trash. Because you can buy cheaper ones that are just trash.
And they'll break immediately.
Yeah. This is basically the one that we have. You look at it and it's like literally the one. The collar and leash is the same one we have, but it's purple instead of red. Mm-hmm. So I would just start with that. It also comes with a blindfold and like some handcuffs and some other cool shit. So it's like a good kit. Mm-hmm. It's got like a spanking paddle. So it's like a BDSM kit. I really like that, actually. I'm really glad I found that. I did a bunch of research to find like a good kit. That was the best one I found. Mm-hmm. So just start with that, the collar and the leash. You can put a blindfold on if you want, but it's probably more fun without, honestly, so she can see what's happening.
Yeah.
And just start with the collar and leash. Try that a couple of times, see how it feels. When you're having sex with it, especially doggy style, like kind of gently pull on the collar, on the leash, like so you're gently pulling her back, like that's really hot. In between, like get her to go on her knees and give you a blowjob and like gently pull on the leash. Like basically just keep some tension on it the whole time so she knows who's in charge. That's the point of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to like even like move around, like if she's lying down, you can like pull her up to kiss you, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you're just like using the leash as the way you move her around. Yeah. You can also, I also like to give commands. That's really fun. You just give like 1 or 2 word commands. So rather than saying like, hey, flip over, I'm gonna fuck you doggy style now, just say like, turn over. Mm. You don't have to say it like hard. You can say it cold and clinically like I do, in the same way that you would to a pet. Or you can say it with like a bit of love and be like, turn over. Like you can be, you don't have to be like Mr. Hardcore. There is an appeal in being cold and clinical and like serious, like turn over, face me, kneel.
Yeah, just getting started.
Yeah, you don't have to just be like kneel down. Like you can just be like chill. And this can either be like a fun experimentation thing, or this can be like a big serious, like you're the dominant man, like whatever you want to do. Remember that this is all meant to be fun. She's not judging you on how well you do. She's not thinking like, oh wow, what a bad dom. I've had quite a few, because you and I talk about BDSM a lot. I've had quite a few of my coaching clients especially be like, man, I'm worried she won't think I'm a good dom. And I'm like, bro, you're just like fucking around with some toys and stuff like that. You're just experimenting. Like you don't have to be good. She's not judging you going like, oh, that's not as good as Christian Grey and 50 Shades of Grey. Like this isn't a test, remember. This is sex. This is fun. This is meant to just be 2 people coming together trying some shit. Mm-hmm. Just like you don't judge her. A bit of empathy helps here. Empathy is not the right word, but like, no, it is probably the right word. Put yourself in her shoes. Oh. Look at it from where you are. That's what I meant to say. Mm-hmm. Do you judge a girl if she's not amazing at sex? I'm not saying if she's so goddamn terrible she bites your dick when she's giving you a blowjob, but I just mean if she's like a little awkward and she's trying, but like it's clear she doesn't know it. She doesn't have a lot of experience and, you know, she's really trying her best, but you have to kind of teach her some stuff. Like you don't judge her. You're just like, no, she doesn't know what she's doing. If anything, it's kind of endearing and cute because you're like, she's really trying. Again, I'm not talking about if she's fucking horrible and she like headbutts you in the pussy, which we had it. A girl told us that she did that to another.
Girl, yeah.
But, so the point is you don't judge a girl if she's not amazing. As long as she's trying and wants to explore and she's open-minded, like you're happy. And so girls are in the exact same position. Why would it be any different? So you're sitting there thinking like, God, she's judging me, or what if she thinks I'm bad? No, she's in the exact same position where she's like, I don't mind if he's not. As long as he's like wanting to try new things, he's willing to learn, and, you know, he's open-minded, I'm happy. So however you would feel about her, she's thinking the same shit about you. I promise. Like, I absolutely promise you guys. So what else did we do with this girl? She made noises. We put on some little cute ears. You can buy, like, cat ears that make you look like a kitty cat.
Just, like, anywhere. Like,
yeah,
any,
you just
like,
buy it from a fucking fancy dress store or a costume store, Halloween store, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, lots of, like, girls' accessories, like, younger girls, like, it's like little weird cat ears and stuff.
Little doggy ears. And that's more just like to be cute. She felt cute with those on.
Yeah, it's to get in the mood.
Yeah. You can gag, but we didn't.
No.
But you can do that. I personally, I'm not super into gags, I'll be honest. Like gags I see the appeal sometimes. But I kind of like hearing girls moan and make noise. And we've used ball gags. So a gag is you just put something in her mouth so she can't talk, basically. You could stuff her own panties in her mouth if you want to do it for free. You can also buy ball gags. I think the kit that we just said we recommend, pretty sure that comes with a gag.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So it's just something that goes over your mouth, and sometimes it's like a ball-shaped object that goes in her mouth. It's got straps on it, so she's not going to swallow it or anything. But like, it's just to stop her talking. But sometimes I like that. For the most part, I don't, because I like hearing girls make noise and like being able to, you know, kiss them. Because you obviously can't kiss if she's wearing a gag. And I'm a big fan of kissing. I know you are too, for fuck's sakes.
And I think another big thing that comes up with the pet play that we did was like licking. Like, so rather than, I guess, kissing normally, it's a bit more.
Yeah, it's more like submissive. So we told this girl, like, you have to lick. You're not allowed to kiss. Like, everything you do, you have to lick. If you want something, you have to lick. Kind of like what a pet would do, what a dog would do, right?
Yeah.
Or a cat. It's like if it wants your attention, it will start licking you. If it's excited, it will start licking you. And so we told her, like, you can't kiss, you have to lick. And, like, you know, she kind of broke that rule. Okay, we just had to get interrupted literally mid-sentence right there because we're recording this in a park and there's people there. So I forgot exactly where I was at, but we were talking about licking. And
we told her that she couldn't lick. To be fair, she did break that rule a lot.
Yeah.
But it's just a bit of fun, really.
Yeah, it was like a fun thing. It's like, because a lot of this stuff, the reason submission is fun is because you're restricting certain things you would normally do. So that's why girls like getting tied up, because it's like, now I can't move my hands. Wow, this is interesting. It's like a new, novel, interesting thing where you have less power, but it's also just literally novel. You've never had sex without using your hands. Most people use their hands during sex a lot. And if you can't kiss, if you can only lick, wow, that's fun because I've never tried it where I couldn't even kiss. I had to only lick. It's like a new novel. You can explore different stuff. You know, if she's trying to give you a blowjob, she can only use her tongue. Now she has to lick like quite fast and like ferocious isn't the right word, but like passionately, excitedly to turn you on. Like she has to lick a lot harder than if she just gave you a slow, sensual, gentle blowjob. So it's like this fun, new, novel dynamic. God, these birds are so noisy. We've got a flock of birds flying over the top. And same with the not talking thing. It's fun because it's like, wow, I've never had sex where I couldn't talk at all. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You can also do other stuff like tape up your hands.
Yeah, that's like a further element of restriction.
Yeah, like literally put like tape over your hands so that they become sort of like paws.
Yeah.
Which is, again, just like a way of saying like you don't get to use your hands at all. Like what happens? And, you know, I'm sure some guys listening to this would be like, well, that sounds a bit weird. And it's like, yeah, like a lot of kinks do sound a little bit weird. But like, again, the reason that's fun is because she doesn't get to use her hands. So it's not like having tape over your hands is hot. It's not. It's just like tape over your hands. But it's like the idea that like, oh, there's one less thing that she's allowed to do now. And from her point of view, it's fun because like, how do I explore with no hands?
Yeah, it's almost like there's like one further element of helplessness.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I know this is the really extreme example, but like, I think when people think of like hardcore pet play, there's like those full on like restrictive leather suits where you like...
Yeah, you can buy a suit that like literally stops you from talking and like moving properly.
And using your hands, and it's like that extreme... That's obviously the extreme version, and this like...
Yeah.
The starting version is like very, very easy. You don't really need anything and it's not scary, but...
Yeah, just do the fun, like, cute, exploratory version of it with the collar and leash. Just have a bit of fun, fuck around. Like, I would encourage everyone listening to this to give it a go. Just buy a collar and leash and try that. Yeah,
the whole point is it's a sliding scale, and it's about, like, just being, I guess, helpless and submissive. That's the main vibe.
And from her point of view, there's also an element of what you'll find, and I found this the first, like, 20 times I ever did any BDSM stuff. When you put the collar and leash on her and you look at her, you'll be very surprised that she looks really hot. And especially for some of you guys who maybe haven't looked at a lot of like BDSM porn, maybe you just look at like the general fucking porn, maybe you get a bit kinky, like, you know, a guy coming on a girl's face, maybe anal, stuff like that. But maybe you haven't looked at a lot of like BDSM, like where she's tied up, where she's restrained, or she's handcuffed. You might find when you put the collar and leash on, you just look at her and you're like, holy shit, why is this giving me a hard on? Like, why am I fucking throbbing just looking at you? And like, I really love to, we did this yesterday a lot, where you get her to face the mirror and you whisper in her ear, or you just say to her, look how fucking hot you look. And like girls, it's almost like their eyes go wide when they look in the mirror and they're like, holy shit, why do I look so good? Like there's this moment where you're both looking at her going like, you're both thinking, or you're both saying sometimes, God damn it, you look good. And she's like, whoa, I didn't know that I would look this good. So just putting a collar and leash on, oddly, you just look good as well. Like you just look really sexy in it, especially when you pull it back.
It's like an ownership thing.
Yeah. Like I think a lot of you guys will be surprised. You might be listening to this and go like, oh, collar and leash, like whatever, man. It's like I said, it's really fucking cheap. We'll leave a link in the description to the one we recommend. Just buy it and try it. And I think you'll be surprised of like, whoa, I tried that and like I didn't actually think it would be that hot because it's just a collar and a leash. But like when I was fucking her doggy style and I was pulling on it, and every time I pulled, she moaned. man, I didn't know that would give me such a fucking thrill. Like, because remember that, I guess that's the thing we didn't say. As you're doing this, she'll be getting off on all this. Like, that is part of the appeal of the kinkier sex and the BDSM sex and all the stuff we talk about, or the stuff we're going to talk more about in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
It's that she gets really goddamn turned on by it. And that makes you really goddamn turned on. So now you go a little crazier, like you're fucking her a little harder, you're moaning more, and now she's looking at you going, oh my God, this is hot. He's getting off on this. And then she moans even harder. It's like you escalate, and you're bouncing off each other and driving each other more and more crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say the other aspect that we didn't really do yesterday, and we haven't necessarily touched on, and this obviously is heading towards the more extreme end of things, but there is like that humiliation aspect as well.
And we don't tend to be that into humiliation, but I would like us to do an episode on it at some point, because we have experimented with it a bit.
Yeah, in bits and pieces. I think.
And remember that, okay, yeah, you say your bit and then I'll say my bit.
Oh no, I was just going to say, like, in terms of pet play, like, it is this notion of, like, being this dumb animal, and maybe, like, I know that is, like, it turns some people on to further that pet play thing and get them to just do, like, little dumb tasks, like...
Yeah, meaningless tasks that an animal has to do. Like even at one point I said, sit in the corner and just watch us. And you were giving me a blowjob and she had to just sit there and watch.
Yeah, like performing tricks almost. Just because, like, you feel a bit silly and dumb. But that being said, like, I guess the appeal comes from that vulnerability, that, like,
doing what you're told, knowing that you don't have a choice.
Yeah, like, you have to do it. Yeah. And, like, you have to do whatever they say. And that kind of...
And if you want to play with humiliation stuff, because I would obviously, the thing I was going to say is, like, obviously make sure you don't ever humiliate a girl without talking to her first, and just or going slow, like starting slow with it. And you can kind of test the waters. This is what I like to do, like build up to it. Pretty much everything we talk about, it's like build up, right? And so the way you start with building up is when you got the collar and leash on her, and you're obviously now in the position of power, get her to sit back and say, play with yourself for me, or rub your pussy for me. And get her to just look you in the eyes while she rubs her pussy. That's like mildly humiliating in itself. It's also incredibly thrilling, but there is a sense of vulnerability there. It's like, especially if you guys do that, if you want the power play here, keep your clothes on as the man. Like, stay fully dressed and get her to strip. There's an element of humiliation there. That's like really gentle, light humiliation. Get her to masturbate for you while you're fully dressed. And you will find that incredibly hot. And so will she. Like, both of you afterwards will be like, God damn it, that was like the hottest shit ever. And so that's an element of, like, light humiliation. Because you talk about humiliation, but I do just want to make it clear, like, don't jump straight into humiliation. Don't just be like, you're a stupid fucking bitch, aren't you? Because it's like, Jesus, bro, don't. No. Like, make sure she's okay with that. Some girls love that shit. Like, and once you get good at this shit, you know which girl. Like, we talked dirty to the girl yesterday. She likes humiliation. When she was at a point where I was going crazy, you were going crazy, she was going crazy, she even said, like, fuck me like your whore, daddy, I'm your fucking whore, right? We will do an episode on humiliation at some point, because, like, dirty talking and stuff like that, but that was after she was crazy turned on. And so humiliation is fun, sure. Well, yeah, we'll do an episode on that, because I think there's a lot there. You can talk about how to build up to it, how to start gentle, but for now, just say, like, masturbate for me. Like, play with your clit for me while I watch, and you stay clothed while she's naked with a collar. That's pretty humiliating. That's fun. Yeah. You can also do things like get her to sit in the corner if you're playing with PETPLAY.
Yeah. Even like the begging or the whimpering aspect can kind of play into that.
Yeah, because we made this girl beg for a bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like saying like beg and you know, because she can't talk, she has to be like, and like make cute little sounds and yeah, like nuzzle you. That's it. We didn't even talk about that. Like nuzzling her head against you when she wants something. There's so much here. We could do like a fucking 5-hour episode on this. But the point is, we're trying to get you guys thinking about like different. The whole point over the next few months is we're going to talk about a bunch of different kinks, and get you guys thinking like, man, that sounds like it could be kind of fun. Like, we hope that something we've said to you today, at least 5 things we've said to you, we've covered a lot. Hopefully, at least like 5 things, maybe 1 or 2, have been like. Have piqued your interest, and you're like, man, I wouldn't actually mind trying that. That sounds kind of fun. Like, that's interesting. You know, especially the stuff like putting a collar on and then she's moaning and getting off on it, then you're getting off on it. I'm sure some of you can picture that and go like, wow, that actually sounds kind of cool. We also did have fun right at the end. This is like unrelated, but right at the end, she was giving me like a blowjob. And you were on the bed playing with the magic wand vibrator, the big vibrator. And you were getting closer and closer. And I said to you, hold off, like wait until I am about to come. And you were getting off on me, like using her and fucking her. And we timed it perfectly. That was like so much fun. That's always fun. Like you orgasmed at the exact moment I came all over her face. And that was like hot as fuck. Because I was like staring into your eyes. You were staring into mine the whole time. That was like incredibly erotic. I love doing that. We'll do an episode at some point on how to come at the same time as your girl. Because that's a hell of a lot of fun. And then afterwards, you both did my favorite fucking thing ever. What did you do afterwards? What did you do?
Kissing her with cum on her face.
Yeah, that's got to be my number one fantasy. Where I come on one of your faces and then you guys make out. That's like just so fucking erotic. That's like some porn level shit. That doesn't even happen that often in porn. So anything else?
Yeah.
I've just talked for like 10 minutes straight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else you want to add?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Like, it's like a brief overview of like what's appealing, like what you can try getting started, different ideas, what we like about it. So give it a go and I guess see for yourself, right?
Yeah. And with all this stuff, the whole point of this is to get you guys to try some different stuff.
Have fun.
Yeah, because a lot of this stuff you'll try it. Some of it you'll try and you'll be like, that's kind of okay. Maybe I won't come back to that. A lot of this you're going to try it and go like, oh my God, Andy, you've just unlocked something within me. Like I never thought that this could be this amazing. Like, thank you for showing me this. So yeah, who do you want to shout out? What do you want to shout out? Any shout outs?
Shout outs to people that walk quickly. So if they're
interrupting. And don't walk really slow past us when we're trying to record a podcast. To be fair, we are like right next to a walking path. So it's our fault.
Yeah, but
so,
like, thanks to the people that walk fast
go
anyway.
Brisk. Everyone should walk fast when they're walking past me. I just want to put out a public service announcement. I'll give a shout out to to an episode I did before called How to Have Roller Coaster Sex. We talked about it for like briefly 20 seconds before. I'll leave a link to that. That's about how to go like fast then slow, how to blow her mind, how to make her feel like the sex is a roller coaster. Because I've had plenty of girls say like, holy shit, sex with you is like a roller coaster. So specifically how to do that, I'll leave a link in the description. I'll also leave a link to the Magic Wand vibrator that we talked about a second ago and that collar and leash kit. Definitely recommend you guys go buy that. Like, honest to God, if you don't buy that, just buy it like any collar and leash. But I like that one because it's sturdy. And we've had collars and leash literally break in the past. Like, there's some of them are made so far. I made the mistake of buying a couple from China like ages ago, back when I supported China. I never buy anything from China right now. Let me just like insert that in there. Like, what's it called when you just like shoehorn that in? That was a smooth shoehorn, wasn't it? Thanks, Andy. We don't really care about your international fucking politics, you weird ginger cunt. But yeah, so I bought a few from China and like, they just broke. Did any break with you?
Handcuffs.
Yeah, there was that girl that like broke one.
It was a few things that broke over the time that I've known.
So anyway, that kit's pretty good. Shout outs to that kit. And shout outs to everyone who goes and tries PETPLAY. If anyone tries it, leave a link, leave a comment in the comments below, or just email me or come on my forums and tell me about it. I'm genuinely curious. Like, I'd like to know, with a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about over the next couple of months, like tell us how it goes, because we are genuinely curious.
Of course. And
now go out there and have fun, you guys. You dirty perverts and perverts.
I think females can be perverts.
Female pervs, disgusting pervert women. Sick. I love you all. DM me and my girlfriend. And my girlfriend. And my girlfriend.